That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. I lost my temper and gave him a shove. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after I left, I started to get worried. So I went back, but he was just lying there dead. Well, the explanation is quite really simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow flew back and touched the electrical cable. He died from the shock, and that was, as they say, is that. A simple explanation indeed. At the time of the incident, a light rain had been falling. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted. But when I pushed him, there wasn't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, I would have noticed it. That's true, even a doofus like him couldn't miss that. Miss Faye, let me warn you right now that if your cross-examination doesn't yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without further delay. Are we clear on that? Yes, Your Honor. Don't give up, Mia. If he is innocent, there must be some kind of evidence somewhere that will prove it. So what kind of things did Mr. Swallow say to you? He said all sorts of terrible things about Dolly. He said that she was a bad girl. Is that all? Yep. Well, Miss Faye, you heard him yourself. Oh, boy, you're not doing yourself any favors there, Mr. Wright. Lie. Please don't make this harder for me than it already is. Anyway, after he said that, I lost my temper. Can you tell me about what happened in a little more detail? That guy, he just said what he wanted to say to me. Then he put on the jacket he was holding and started to leave. That's when I lost my temper and flew into a furious frenzy. I just gave him a light, gentle shove to the chest. Thank you for revising that. When you did that, there was no severed cable anywhere to be seen. Right, there was nothing like that at all. But it is possible that you merely overlooked it. I guess it's possible. What are you doing? Don't let that guy steamroll over you like cheap asphalt. I believe what's important here is the moment the push occurred. Let's continue on with the witness testimony. A loud noise? And what would you say that loud noise was, Mr. Wright? I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It's like snap. You know, come to think of it, I wonder what that was. Clearly, Your Honor, it was the sound of the victim being electrocuted. You're not qualified to decide that. What should I do? I'm treading on some dangerous ground here. Ask for more details. Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important. So try to remember what it was. How do I put it? It was like a sharp crack. Could it have been? Yes, could it have been? Hurry up and tell us. When I pushed him, he dropped the umbrella he was holding. He fell right on top of it and it broke. That was probably the noise I heard. An umbrella, huh? And did that umbrella belong to the victim? Yeah, it was a plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, kind of like the owner. Then again, I wish I kind of had any kind of umbrella. I was totally soaked to the bone. Miss Faye? What do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now? Yes, there's a contradiction. This is it, Mia. The new information you've been waiting for. course it's important. No, this cheap umbrella is more than important. It's vital. I want to officially have it entered into the testimony. Nah, how perfectly fitting. Flimsy information for a flimsy lawyer. The court agrees to the defense's request. Witness, please add that bit about the cheap umbrella to your testimony. Alright, present, okay, just making sure. First picture, present. Why didn't you testify about the umbrella from the very beginning? Come on, if I had mentioned that, I would have been able to counter the prosecution's arguments earlier. What do you mean by that? Take another look at the crime scene photo. According to Mr. Wright, the victim fell on top of his umbrella. However, if you look closely, the umbrella is nowhere near the victim. Actually, it's by the electrical pole. You're absolutely right. I figured, I didn't even notice it was really broken. I just thought it was just cheap as shit. But yeah, it is kind of broken. But they moved the body rather than, I just assumed that he just lied and said he didn't land on top of it. Okay. The conclusion here is obvious. After the defendant left, the victim moved from where he fell. In other words, after he was pushed by the defendant, Mr. Swallow was still alive. No! Order! The victim, he moved. Mr. Payne, the umbrella in this photo, where is it now? While it was collected by the police at the crime scene, I want to present it as evidence immediately. Cool, it is broken. But the umbrella could have simply been blown there by the wind. If he's on top of it, it's not getting blown. According to the testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella. There's simply no way it could have been blown there by the wind. But, I know the matter of the umbrella seems relatively trivial, but as long as the smallest doubt remains, I cannot render final judgment. You say that, but you always end up doing it in all the other games. No! However, I still find it hard to believe that a huge hole has been blown in the prosecution's case by the defendant's testimony. Well done, Bia. Mr. Payne, what are you chuckling about? Pardon me, Your Honor. It seems I was expecting too much of a free ride. It was foolish to think I could establish guilt through cross-examination alone. I'm afraid I don't follow what you're saying. Let me guess. You have another witness. Exactly, and this witness testimony will be incontrovertible. Well, who was the witness? Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne? You don't mean Dolly? I do, Your Honor. The defendant's very own lover is a witness to the whole thing. That's right, she was at the scene of the crime when the murder took place. I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, my dear. Bad news? You couldn't be more wrong. Actually, I've been waiting for this. You can't be serious. Mia, what do you mean by that? I think that's a good point for us to stop at. Court will now enter a 20-minute recess. Afterwards, we will listen to the testimony of Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Miss Faye, I'm sorry about what happened back there. It's alright. At least you told us the truth in the end, Mr. Wright. Yeah, so I guess I can start to relax then, huh? Relax, my boy. You can't be serious after hiding such important facts. But the next witness is my dolly, right? She'll save me. I just know she will. Why do you think that? Huh? What do you mean? She's the love of my life, that's why. The love of your life, huh? Would you mind telling me more about you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne? No, sure, no problem. Dahlia and I, we first met about 8 months ago, right here in the very courthouse. Actually, I'm studying to be a lawyer on the side. Anyway, one day she and I just bumped into each other in the reading room downstairs. That's why I really think it was fate that brought us together. As soon as I first set eyes on her, I knew she was the one for me. Oh, here, take a look at this. She gave this to me the day we met as a symbol of our love. She'd been wearing it around her neck that day, but then she took it off. But right before she gave it to me, she said, "I want you to carry this." So she gave it to you as a present, I see. This darling little bottle was filled with memories of my darling little dolly. It certainly is a light bottle, alright. It makes me so happy I show it to everyone I meet. I want to share my happiness with the whole world. Yeah, somehow I think that's probably like stolen or something. Anyway. So after that, you and Miss Hawthorne started dating? Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she's always the same thing says the same thing to me. Please give it back now. What a strange girl asking for a present back like that. It's like it's not a present. By the way, Mr. Wright, the day you first met Dahlia Hawthorne, 8 months ago, it wouldn't happen to have been on August 27th, would it? Yeah, it was. How did he know? This happened on August 27th, right here in this courthouse. What's this, a newspaper clipping? Let's see, murder in the courthouse. Murder? What are you reading there? Let me see that. Oh, I see. Mia, I think I understand what you're trying to say. I think I understand why you suddenly took such a keen interest in this case. You believe there is some relationship between these two cases, am I correct? Oh, I get what she's trying. So she's framing him on this murder to get that thing back, whatever it was. I hope you don't mind, Mr. Grossberg. I need to finish this myself. Oh yes, but I'm afraid that you have what you have will not be enough, my dear. I'll go and have a look at the downstairs reading room and see what else I can find. Thank you. I want to do whatever I can help of help to you. Well, it looks like recess is about over. We'd better get all moving. I guess so. That recess sure seemed longer than 20 minutes, though. Sure seemed shorter than 20 minutes. That's a save music. Back in court. Court will now reconvene. Mr. Payne, please call your witness. The next person is someone who witnessed the crime as it happened. The prosecution calls Miss Dahlia Hawthorne to the stand. Oh God. What's with this stiff silence? In my long career as a judge, I have been deceived by many a witness. It's my job to doubt, to take no one at their word. But in your case, I must admit that you radiate a glow of complete sincerity. I can't believe he actually said that. Jesus. Oh, now then, witness, could you please state your full name? Don't worry, sweetie, there's no need to be nervous. If anyone says anything rude, you can be sure I'll cut them right down to size. And I will bash them with my gavel. I love how they look straight at me when they say that. Thank you for calming my nerves. You're all so nice. I almost feel right at home. Not at all. It was nothing. If we may move on now, what is your full name and occupation? My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I'm a junior in literature at Ivy University. I just want to say, it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence. Your honor is all mine. No, the honor is mine. I only know whose milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Oh my God. Mia, stop it. Sir? Is there anything I can help you with? You just go on and say whatever is on your mind. I'm sure that there must be some kind of mistake. Feeny wouldn't kill anyone. I just know it. Yes. I can see why you'd say that. She's gonna be a tough witness, all right. It only took her 12 seconds to wrap them all around her little finger. Jesus Christ. This is awful. Now then, please proceed with your testimony. Let's hear about what you witnessed on the day of the incident, if you please. It's ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. I've been planning to go back to Feeny's place after class was over. Feeny and Dougie, they were talking behind the building. And suddenly, Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed. That's when Feeny noticed that I was there. I want to go and find some other students, and they called the authorities. I don't know what to say. According to you, Miss Hawthorne, the defendant didn't do anything wrong. Oh, innocent, let's go. Shut up, Payne. Young lady. As old as I am, even I recall how hot the flames of young passion can burn. Nevertheless, it is my job to discover the truth. Please tell us the truth. But I would never. It's more than enough, witness. I won't allow this to continue. What do you mean by that? Please just let me proceed with my cross-examination, Your Honor. I, for one, don't plan to win my case on a bunch of paper-thin lies. Tee-hee. You haven't changed a bit. Mia Fey. What's this? So you two are acquainted? Yes. We've met before, once. Oh, in the other court case. In any case, Miss Fay, the floor is all yours. I bet she was trying to get her. That she probably framed the murder on probably her client. And she couldn't get him off. It's good to see you again, Madam Fay. Madam, I'm no one's grandma yet, girly. Gotta love that fucking fire. Now, unless I'm mistaken, Feeny, I mean, Mr. Wright, is in the art department. If that's the case, then what were you doing by the pharmacology building? Well, I'm in the literature department. I'm studying Japanese Senryu poetry. Oh, how wonderful. Isn't that humorous, yet satirical style of haiku, yes? Nothing left to do. When a man reaches this age, sleep is his best friend. That's supposed to be poetry. Sounds more like a midlife crisis. For me to get to the art department, I have to walk through that back area. Yes, I see. That makes sense. Then, when I want to enter the courtroom, I always walk through the front doors. How else would you enter? Teleportation? So who's this Dougie person? Oh, I'm sorry. Doug Swallow. We were dating until about 8 months ago. So what were Dougie, Mr. Swallow and Mr. Wright talking about anyway? How can you be so mean? I would never eavesdrop. I wasn't raised to be so rude and unrefined. That's right, Miss Faye. Don't drag the witness down to your level. Why am I being demonized here? Please go on. Oh, what did you see next? This is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Are you saying that the victim just collapsed on his own? Yes. In other words, the defendant never touched the victim, is that right? I was watching the whole thing. Feeney never did a thing to Dougie. I press her for no good reason, I just know the judge will get angry with me. So I should do about her testimony just now. Show contradiction. Feeble lies are not very very becoming, Miss Hawthorne. So let's drop them, shall we? What? I would never. Miss Faye, I will not allow you to badger this witness. I believe the defense is engaging in a fishing expedition. That is, she has no supporting. Please don't glare at me like that. I'm just doing my job. Now then, Miss Hawthorne. The defendant's palm print was found on Mr. Swallow's leather jacket. It was already been shown that Mr. Wright did in fact push the victim. What? There's no need to try to cover for the defendant. It'd be much better if you came out and told us the whole truth. There's nothing to worry about, young lady. Just tell us everything that you saw. Yes, Your Honor. I will. If you don't mind, I'd like to revise my testimony. Looks like we're finally getting somewhere. But you just said that you saw the whole thing. You didn't see it? Well, I saw the moment when Dougie fell to the ground. At that time, there was only the two of them at the scene. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and the victim, Doug Swallow. Yes, that's right. You said you weren't eavesdropping. So then what did it look like they were doing to you? I thought they were having a nice friendly afternoon conversation. Oh, give me a break. That's why I really wasn't watching them all that closely. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? No, nothing at all, Mr. Judge. Oh, I like the sound of that, Mr. Judge. Now then, please proceed with your testimony. What's Phoenix's testimony? Not that. Oh, I didn't hear any noise either. Objection! You would have heard a loud cracking noise. You say you didn't hear any noise. Is that correct? Yes, that's why I was very relaxed, looking at the scenery around me. That's nice, but I find that just a little odd. I have here the testimony of your boyfriend, Mr. Phoenix Wright. And he clearly testified to the effect that when he pushed the victim, he heard a sharp, loud noise. He said that? If you were really that close to the two of them, why didn't you hear this noise as well? Well, maybe the noise just wasn't all that memorable. But according to Mr. Wright's testimony, it was a sharp noise like a snap. There's no way a noise like that would fail to make an impression. May I have a moment to answer? By all means. I know the reason why I didn't hear the noise. Please tell me you're like deaf or something. You see, the truth is, I had my headphones on, and I was listening to music at the time. Headphones? You mean that both of your ears were covered? The rain was just beginning to let out. It seemed as though Thor wasn't ready for his fun to come to an end yet. So the sky continued to flash and rumble. Thunder and lightning, huh? Yes, I'm afraid of the sound of thunder. So if I put my headphones on to block it out... Well, Your Honor, As you can see, there weren't any contradictions or in testimony after all. Wait a sec, Mia. The testimony just now, it doesn't make sense because he was holding an umbrella at the time. She said something that could totally change this whole case. There was lightning. Also, you can't prove that he didn't get struck by lightning. Actually, you can because it's really obvious. But, Your Honor, there is a problem with the witness's testimony. What do you mean? Didn't you notice? She said there was lightning, correct? Yes, what about it? Well, lightning is actually a large discharge of electricity in the atmosphere, am I right? Now's not the time for a science lesson, Miss Fang. Yes, Your Honor. Anyway, since the cause of death was electrocution, isn't it possible that the victim died from being hit by a bolt of lightning? Oh, it's really, there's a lot of scorching when lightning hits something. I must admit that thought had never not occurred to me. Just what kind of thoughts do occur to this guy anyway? Well, when this chick shows up, I don't want to know. This entire case is built on the premise that Mr. Swallow was murdered. But that very premise itself is mistaken. The defense believes that Mr. Swallow was in fact the victim of a stray bolt. It appears the defense is making this some sort of claim. Could it be that the death was actually an accident? Alright, you did it, Mia. I'll be taking that not guilty. I'm hurt that you have such a low opinion of me, Miss Faye. Huh? And I'm not a fool, you know. The prosecution has done its research, Your Honor. We found that there were no lightning strikes on that day at that location. What? What's more, we have evidence that the electrical cable is definitely linked to the case. Evidence, Mr. Payne? Well, what is this evidence? Yes, affidavit. Who's this affidavit from? The pharmacology students who were conducting experiments in their lab that day. Allow me to read out to the court the testimony of the pharmacology students. All equipment in the lab lost power all of a sudden at around 3 p.m. that day. Was there a blackout? All the lab's equipment runs on the high voltage, Your Honor. So you're saying the equipment lost power because... Precisely, they lost power because of the severed electrical cable. The power outage occurred at approximately 3 p.m. which fits the time of death listed in the autopsy. Exactly, in other words, the victim died as a result of touching that severed electrical cable. According to the students, the cables were very old. They were planning on having them replaced in the near future. Oh, I see. Apparently, the cables had become so brittle that even the smallest bump would have caused them to break. However, there is one thing that troubles me. If the cable could have been broken by any small bump, it wouldn't have been snapped if it hadn't been bumped into, correct? Well, I suppose you could say that. Miss Faye, do you have any thoughts regarding the cause of the severed cable? Your Honor? I don't like how this is looking one bit. I have to come up with something to try to regain some momentum. If it pleases the court, the defense would like to state its opinion. Well then, let's hear it. What or what was it that caused the cable to break? Probably this umbrella. This is it. This is why the cable snapped. Well, Your Honor, I believe that the only thing that snapped is the mind of the defense. And that was one of your best lines yet, Your Honor. Ouch, that was harsh. Please, Your Honor, give me one more chance. Well, then let's hear it. Or what? Okay, so let's just say him. Doug's body. No. Oh, I'll just blame the chick. Because that'll work. No, or not. Oh, Jesus. Since I haven't added lives yet, I'll just keep doing this. Your Honor, please think back to Mr. Wright's testimony. Okay, apparently it's right. I didn't want to say it. The defendant's testimony. He said that after he pushed the victim, he heard a loud snap noise. Now, this happened at around 3 p.m., correct? Yes, that sounds right. Wait, are you saying that? The lab equipment lost power at 2:55 p.m., which fits right in Mr. Wright's timeline. In other words, it was Mr. Wright's shove that caused the power outage. Yes, the prosecution also came to that same conclusion. Yeah, but that's the problem. We don't want to come to this conclusion. And it was that very shove that caused Mr. Swallow to be electrocuted. I'm afraid I can't agree with you there, Mr. Payne. What's that supposed to mean? Take a good look at where the victim landed after being shoved. See the umbrella? It's by the electrical pole. That's right, the victim banged into the pole as a result of being pushed. It was that impact that caused the cable to break. Well, that makes sense. And then the victim was electrocuted. I love that movement, by the way. Amazing. Sorry, Your Honor, but no. It doesn't make sense at all. If the victim was shoved into the far pole, then he couldn't have been electrocuted by this severed cable in the foreground here. Ah. In other words, someone other than my client must have electrocuted the victim. Order in the court. The lamentations of my enemy. How I've longed to hear them. God. Okay, I love you even more. It's true, the defense is absolutely correct. There doesn't seem to be any way the defendant could have done it.
Mr. Judge, sir, may I say something? The Madam Attorney's explanation. She said some things there a little different than I remember them.
What the?
Please, just once more. May I please testify one last time, please, Mr. Judge?
Okay, of course, it's all right. Just go ahead and give your new testimony. This is it. She's finally starting to show her true colors. No, she's not. What I witnessed, part 2. Yeah, whatever.